All right, welcome to Beyond the Blueprint. My name is Matt Sochi. I'm your host, and I have Yvonne Gallegos here.
Hello,
welcome,
hello.
Yvonne. Today, we have an exciting episode and interview, and we're going to talk about going from nursing to real estate. So I'm pretty excited about it. I read an interesting quote, and I just wanted to throw it in there that might reach out to somebody, that doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will.
Yes.
So think about that. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will.
That's so true.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of like touching. Like a lot of people kind of doubt themselves.
So they just don't even make a move.
They don't even do it, right? And then if you don't do something, then it's never going to happen.
It's like that other one. What if I fail, but what if you fly? Ain't that it?
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
So that's our quote for this week, we'll call it. But I thought that was really cool. I first want to say thank you everybody who follows us on Beyond the Blueprint. We are on all podcast channels, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Podbeam, Amazon, and Apple. We're also on YouTube. So if you haven't yet, make sure you take a like and subscribe, and let's get it kicked off. So today we have Yvonne here. Yvonne and I have known each other for, about 2 years?
No, more than that.
More? Yeah, it might have been more, right?
Yeah. 2020 maybe?
2020. This year's almost over.
Yeah. Well, we started working together when it was
COVID?
Yeah. End of COVID.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
2020.
I think so. How did we meet?
Multiple offers. Oh, well. My old broker.
Okay.
She says, I think he would be a good, because I had started out with real estate. I was had more like listings initially.
Gotcha. So you're on the sales side.
Mm-hmm. So I hadn't really had connected with buyers that much. Okay. And then I felt like I didn't have that connection with like a go-to lender. And she's like, I think you would like him. He's very upbeat. I think you guys have the same views.
Yeah. So I do recall that. And then we started just talking, and here we are today.
I sent you some clients, and then, yeah.
You sent a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
We got them all closed, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little about yourself, where you're from, and,
Well, I always,
kick it off from there.
Nobody can believe that I'm like a true Floridian. Yeah.
Why is that?
Really? I'm here? No, they always think that I'm from somewhere else.
I think the majority of people that live in Florida aren't from here.
But they say even that I talk like I'm from
where?
Up north. I get New
That's
York,
where I'm from.
I get New Jersey, I get everything else.
I'm from Connecticut, so I get it. I thought, what's really weird? So being up in New England, I was like, oh man, when you come to Florida, I was like, oh, y'all, and thought it would be all country, and it's like the complete opposite. It's very rare. I don't hear all the crazy accents. Go to Georgia.
Oh yeah.
You go to Georgia. Yeah. It's and they're further north.
We went to buy, because my husband, he's a subcontractor, so he does like the grading and all that stuff. So he went and got his machines up in Tennessee, in Chattanooga, and he's like,
he needs to bring them to our cabin. Our road up, like we have renters there now, and I'm like, all right, just hug the sides because it's riveting, right? And we have our own HOA if it's even being used, and so we'll go get groceries, and I'm like, oh man, I was like, babe, we should buy a tote or something, because when we get up to the cabin, shit's everywhere. I mean, you got stuff everywhere. So maybe we'll have to get them up there. There's a lot of business for it up there in Georgia and Blue Ridge.
When they answered, we're like, yeah, we're over here in Chattanooga. When are you coming out?
So you've been in Florida your whole life?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Well, I mean, I traveled a lot vacationing, but...
Well, I know that.
Yeah, but this is...
So where'd you grow up?
In a small town called LaBelle.
Good song. All right, LaBelle.
Yes.
Wow. So where's that for people that aren't from Florida? Where's LaBelle on the map?
Like
in Florida?
30 minutes, 40 minutes east of Fort Myers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have traveled through LaBelle, like to go to Orlando. Like travel through LaBelle to go
north. Up
whatever.
27,
Road, 27. And
or to go to Miami. I like going that way. I don't like going to Alligator Alley. Yeah.
It's terrible. Especially if there's an accident, you never get
I prefer to go that way, yeah. All the time.
So when I think of LaBelle, I think in my head, acres, farmers, and cows.
And a river.
And a river.
Yeah.
Where's the river?
The river goes right through town.
It's just a little town, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up there. Did they have a high school there? Or
Yeah.
school? Okay, all right.
High school. Did all the grade school there. Well, I was the first out of my mom's kids to be born in Florida. Everybody.
And so what'd you do? So obviously the purpose of this interview and podcast is to really kind of show others that if you're in a situation, maybe with your career or family or whatever it might be, is there's opportunities out there. So tell us a little bit about, like, so you graduated from high school. Mm-hmm. We don't have to give the year. Don't worry about that. But you graduated high school and
Recently.
There you go. And even like I have kids that are in that age. You know, one of them works with us, Jalen, who's phenomenal, and Jada is doing dual enrollment. But a lot of the kids don't know where to go. Right, they don't know what they want to do for a living, or is college the right choice and stuff like that. So walk me through kind of like after high school. What was your next steps?
Growing up, because my dad, he passed away when I was 15, but it was ingrained like you go to college, that's what you do.
Right.
That's what you do, because he had older children, lawyer, nurse, and teacher.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they were all like, his oldest was a lawyer. Everybody was educated, and that was the way to go. And he graduated, I think, with an associate's or something. My dad, but he was just different. All his kids were different from his personality, but he was very people-y. So he was always, self-employed doing stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
But so it was always ingrained, college. And I was always pretty much academic. I would say I get my street smarts, my hood smarts from my husband.
But I think we're all like that too. Like I was like that growing up too. It's like even grandpa, like he put away money for college, right? Everything was for college. And he was a vice president for a big company worldwide, but water paper company. And it was always like, you got to go to school. You got to do this. You got to do that. So, I mean, I could relate to that too.
So it was always pretty much, I knew, and he always kind of told me, I think you should do something in the medical field. So it kind of stuck with me. And then I wanted to be a pharmacist.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't study for the test to get into pharmacy school. And that was like the trending thing when I was in college. Like everybody wanted to be a pharmacist. So I took all the chemistries, all the stuff. I did everything, organic, blah, 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 calculus. Stuff you never need in real life. So.
Because as a pharmacist, all you got to do is kind of count, right?
Yeah, and then
Pills,
I worked in pharmacy. No, they don't even do that. They make all the techs do that.
Oh, okay.
They just look at the script and say, all right, let it rip.
Let it rip.
Yeah. So I did that, and that's what I wanted to do for a while. Then I was in college I changed my major like 3 times because in pharmacy school, I'm like, I didn't study.
Well, time out on that. I think that's very valid. I think there's a lot of people that do that.
What, change their major?
Yeah.
I was a biology major at one point. I had this teacher, though. She's like in love with birds and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not me.
I love birds.
Well, she was an ornithologist.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you switched your major.
Yeah. And then I said, what am I going to do with that? I'm not going to do that. So I switched. And then my mom was kind of bugging me. You need to figure something out. So then I was like, well, what about nursing?
So you just literally like threw it up in the air and said, I'm doing nursing. That's it.
Yeah, I went to the health admission, whatever, at the thing, college, and, pick one.
Pick one.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
But then at my first clinical, I cried.
Do you have to go to a different school for nursing?
No, like you have the thing. But they send you to the nursing home the first semester.
Gotcha. So what college were you going to?
They're at FGCU. Well, I went to, It used to be Edison. It's FSW now.
Yeah,
and then I transferred.
To FGCU.
Yeah, to FGCU.
Good basketball team.
Yeah.
Or at least were. I don't know.
Well, it was Dunk City or whatever.
Dunk City.
Right? Yeah.
It was a couple years.
That was when my little brother was going there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. You're like, I'm going to be a nurse. You did all that. And
yeah.
All right.
I didn't know what the hell I got myself into.
I mean, nursing is very interesting. I mean, I talk to a lot of clients or buyers that are nurses, and I'm like, whoa, all right. A, you got a job that pays well. B, the hours I get, it's a lot of overtime and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's a job that you never have to worry about.
Well, what I loved about it is that I never really, only the first 4 years of my career that I stayed and was like on a team, and I was like a charge nurse, and I was doing all that kind of stuff. Then after that, I was just like hopping wherever the contracts were. Did a travel assignment.
So, did you travel?
Not out local. Like I did region. But
All right, like in the area.
Yeah.
So you
anywhere from like Port Charlotte, Sarasota, all the way down here, Naples.
Gotcha. Okay.
Everywhere in between. I worked at every hospital, and it's like a little network. Like you see people, and you're like, I worked with them at some point somewhere. Like I can't remember because I'm bad with names sometimes.
Was it ever a hospital, or was it like urgent cares? Or?
No, I was always in the hospital.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of different levels of nursing too, right?
Mm-hmm. But I always never liked, like I would get, when you take contract work, they usually give you like the shitty assignment because you're getting paid the most as opposed to the people that are, benefited. So I would be like in the ICU or, I'd go to all different departments. I was never really in the same when I would take those kind of contracts.
Okay.
And even between hospitals, like when I did NCH, I was like in between downtown
and then Midtown,
and here,
Immokalee, wherever.
No,
Immokalee
Road.
Yeah. Sorry.
Immokalee Road. Yeah. So like I would be wherever.
How many years were you a nurse? So you graduated from school. You went like how many years were you
that I worked at it full time?
That's it. Yeah.
Let's see. Let me count. Probably 10.
Wow, long time. Which I think this goes into a good point. Like when I worked for corporate America, so I was a manager, in leadership with AT&T, and it was just the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And that got to a point where I was just like, I cannot grow or move to where I wanted to, right? And I couldn't because I couldn't relocate and all these different things. So what was it? So obviously now you're a realtor. What was it? Like if you could just close your eyes and think of that moment. What was that moment where you're like, I want to go into real estate?
Well, it was probably after 8 years-ish 9 years.
And what was it? Like, did you have a trigger or something? Like, what was it?
Well, what made me actually do it was after I had my son. I had the little break.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was pregnant, working on my feet. And I came home one day and I was like, I think I went into labor, like preterm labor the next week, but I'm like, something's got to give. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not my passion. But I was already thinking about it probably 2 years before that, around that time. I used to live we had a house on the water, and I was always like liking real estate.
Was somebody, like, were you friends with maybe some realtors, or were you just curious about it?
I was friends with a realtor.
Okay. And that's
like when you buy a house and you didn't use your friend.
Oh, those are the best.
And then they're going to come to the house.
Those are the best. I see those memes all the time on Facebook. They're hilarious.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so rude of me.
You know what's crazy too? Like sometimes I'll have people reach out to me after they, their realtor recommended their mortgage person. And then maybe things, hit the fan. And then they reach out to me. And I'm like, we've been friends. Like, do you not see my Facebook, which is just mortgages, real estate?
But sometimes I find it easier. Sometimes it's easier to work with strangers than it is to work with.
I could see that.
Or like something because
I mean, for me, it's probably a little bit different because it's more financial, but we don't share your stuff. I mean, A, it's illegal, but B, I'm just like, don't you see Facebook? Like, I don't know if I even post regular stuff anymore. I try to, but it's like it gets buried in sharing this, liking this, doing this,
Yeah.
So that was it. You had a baby. You left nursing, and you're like, this is my opportunity.
Yeah. And then I just like the appreciation. Isn't it a beautiful thing? All the money you make off of when you sell your house. So I liked that, and I think then we bought
you as the seller, not the realtor, because you didn't know, probably, right?
No, but then I know the second time that I bought my house, I felt like I wasn't explained a few things as far as inspection and things like that. And I bought a house on the water with seawall and everything else, Bodog. So I felt like there was some missing connecting dots there with the process. So I was like, hey, I think I wish I would have known this. Like I would do things differently.
Right.
Oh, you had to do a short sale up north.
Well, that's what ended up happening because everybody else was doing it. And my house that I bought, a townhouse brand new, was close to $400,000. It was probably worth $2 million. So I short sold.
Oh, what year was that?
2012, 13, around there maybe.
Oh, okay.
You know, that was the time, like up in Connecticut, it was a little bit slower start compared to Florida. Florida was like, oh, you're foreclosing your house? I think I'm going to do the same, you know? And I think it became just a domino effect. And the smart investors that had money were like, scoop it, buy it.
I wish I would have been smart.
I think everybody, that's going back in time, what is something...
Yeah. But in reality, I could have, because I was, making good money as a nurse, and I was only like 25. And I remember seeing those signs, 35K duplex. I'm like, what? But I was worried about doing other things, No, traveling, doing other stuff. Me and my husband, we were married for 10 years before we had, almost 10 years before we had my son. So we lived like two little old retired people. We traveled, hung out. We went to the islands down in the Caribbean. We went everywhere, just did everything. And I think that kind of tied into how a lot of nurses think now. You kind of live in the moment because you see the harsh reality that you may not ever get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you take advantage. What if I don't get to live that retired life? People that work that same job. And
so you went to real estate, and how many places have you worked in real estate? Because I see people all the time, they're switching from one brokerage to another brokerage.
I only switch once.
That's it?
No. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. And obviously now you work with John R. Woods.
Uh-huh.
Right, awesome. And talk to me a little bit about how you think maybe your last job, because I talk about this. I didn't like I don't talk shit about my last job, but I left for certain reasons, right? I wanted growth and kind of do my own thing, which is here we are. But I learned a lot of great things, that helped me now in my career. So if you had to pick out a couple things that you learned from that job that helps you today, what would those things be?
Really good, not really good, but better at just assessing people.
Okay.
I
can see that.
That's what you do, relationships, analyzing who you kind of see who's in it for the right reasons, who's in it, who's wait.
Do you think people are in real estate for the wrong reasons?
I think they think it's a lot easier than what it is.
I'll tell you what, I don't care if it's real estate or mortgages, it is not easy.
No, not at all.
Because when you first start out, everybody's got their own clique. Everyone's got their own realtor, the mortgage broker, the title company. It's like a big clique, right? I think overcoming that wall, right? Overcoming that wall and objection takes a lot of time. And you really got to separate yourself from other people, I think, is the thing. And there's a lot of people that go into real estate or mortgages. Fun fact, 2020, there was over 200,000 mortgage brokers. How many do you think there are today?
Less than 100?
I think it's 98,000.
Yeah.
Good for me. I mean, I love it. But a lot of people dropped out because times are changing, right? And if you have a fixed mindset and
a lot of people went into real estate because it was a good idea.
Everybody
thought it was thought it was a good idea to buy a house.
Well, interest rates are cheap. I mean, you can make 50 grand a year and buy
it took no
$400,000
convincing.
house.
Everybody thought it was a good idea to buy. Everybody thought it was a good idea to sell.
I sold and bought.
Yeah.
Who didn't?
It took no convincing on the other end.
Right. And I think the true salespeople, and I say salespeople not trying to sell, but the true salespeople that know how to connect with people are the ones.
Or want to.
Or
want
you have
to be intentional.
There's some people now, they can't even pick up their phone. Even people I'm like, just pick up your phone. I'm not calling, maybe it's bad news, but I want to give you some kind of news. Or an update, right? Don't be scared. I think people that are around now that are still sticking around are the ones that are adaptive, right? So if you look at things you got to have a growth mindset. Things are changing. Mm-hmm. Things are changing.
It's a changing market. Everything going on. Even that lawsuit.
Oh man, I didn't want to talk about that. I have people out, realtors out in NAR right now in California, and they're still. That's going to be a long, long thing before it even becomes a thing.
But we got to prepare now.
You do, and that's being adapted. If we weren't talking about it, I guess it wouldn't even be a thought, but...
it's there.
It's there.
But when I came out, this is how I look at things. When I came out of nursing school, I went to go work at a place, I won't say where it is locally, but it was rough. And there was no lab team, there was no IV team. And I used to tell other people, other nurses, I was like, hey, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So I feel like, okay, I left to do this full time. You know, I still kept that other job. Like, it wasn't my income. It was just there for security because whatever, you know, 1 day a month, 2 days a month.
Just something.
Because I just wanted my foot in the door, right? So I left. Yeah. So I think, and now coming out into this changing market when it wasn't the easy market, it's like, if I can make it now, I know I'm going to make it.
Yeah. And how many years have you done real estate?
4.5.
Yeah. So a little bit longer than I've been doing mortgages. And to still be doing it today, and I know you're successful. We do deals together, but you do a lot of other things with, you know, selling and stuff like that, is that we are here for the long term and not here for the, you know, we're not quitting our Taco Bell job to go do real estate during COVID and then go back to it, you know? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you got to go plow through it. You got to plow through the good. You got to plow through the bad.
That's why I was like, oh, I better start. Where the team where I work with now, she's like telling this other guy that helps us with our, our social media and stuff.
Right.
Like, oh, Yvonne, she needs to hustle down because, you know, she's there. She just needs to push harder. So I know that I would always send you stuff and you would post it for me because I wouldn't really be a poster, you know, stuff. But
it's hard because if you're not used to doing it, like the big thing is in this world that we're in now, right, is you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Think about this room. Like, look around. Like, we have lights, cameras, sound machines. Do you think I knew how to use this? I had this in here for 2 years before I even hit the play button or record button. 2 years. And you know what? I said, I'm going to do it. Screw it. Going to do it.
And that's how you have to be. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
Just have to do it.
And just be consistent.
Don't think about it. Just do it.
And I think they're great. It just takes time. You know, it takes time. Like, doing something like this, and then by the time we get this done and edit it and take the stuff from it's going to take a little bit, but I turn it into like a hobby. Doing stuff like that.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. And if you turn something into something that you like you're passionate about, then it's not work. Like our jobs, like I'm passionate. I'm sure you're passionate about your job. And it's not like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I have to go to work today. Like, I work every day. Even on holidays sometimes. Like,
I feel like that now too.
But it's not working. It's connecting, right?
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, I have to go to the office. I have to sit in front of the laptop for 5 hours, get a lunch break at noon. Like, we're on our own terms. You know?
That's a good and a bad thing. That's why I have more accountability. Since I joined the teams, like kind of like checking in, you know, and got the resources with the numbers in front of you. Write down your goal so you can measure it, you know, because you really need to know. Yeah, but write it down and measure it.
What was your goal this year in real estate? Just curious.
10 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's aggressive.
It's close.
Okay.
But not there.
Okay.
But I didn't really want to put a number, but yeah.
So.
But I don't sell like the, you know.
I think what you said is really important. Goals. If you don't have goals, you have nothing to achieve. Right? I did goals with my team 2 years ago, and I was asked, what's my goal? My goal, I didn't do it, but was do one podcast a month, and this was in 2022. And I've done more probably this month than I've done ever. You know, in 1 month, I think we have 12 or something like that. But you got to set goals. But for work, like my goal was to help 100 families, either refi, whatever it might be. And we were able to do it. And it feels good. So now I'm thinking like probably what are you going to do next year to vamp that? Even if you miss, it's okay to miss your goal, right? It happens, but at least you were keeping track of it, I'm sure, right?
But I know where I kind of slipped up because I didn't put my ass in gear till about like March.
Did you take a vacation?
No, I was just sticking to my old habits.
Okay.
Not expecting a change.
Okay.
You're not going to get results with your same
Well,
Does that make sense?
It's the what is it? The definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results.
But I know I'm already planning for next year.
All right, good.
Now.
All right, so let's play a game. Okay, so what I have here, I'll slide this over. Here, slide it over there. So there's words on these pieces of paper. Okay, it's the first time it's ever done on the show. I want you to pick a piece of paper and tell me or tell everyone what that means to you.
Okay.
Let's grab one. Right.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
Yeah, you better close your eyes because you can see right through it.
Innovation.
All right, hold it up. What'd you get? Innovation? Okay. So, what does that word mean to you? Let me take a second to think about it. And I want everybody else too, if you're listening, just think of that word. What does it mean to you, or what impact has it had in your life?
That's me. Change. From one extreme to me, that means kind of like change. Do something that's different.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So I feel like the times change, I change with.
Yeah, because if you don't, then what? You're left behind. You're in the dust. Did you ever, well, obviously you know this, but so remember Blockbuster?
Oh, yeah.
And that was like a big deal. Like Friday nights, I'm going to Blockbuster, did my chores for the week.
Yeah.
Please, Mom, please. And they had an opportunity. Remember Netflix came out and you had to like sign up and they would mail you DVDs and you would have to pray they weren't scratched, but if you didn't return them, they charge you for them. Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix. And they said, oh, that won't work. That's stupid. Right?
I never knew that. I never like read into it. Yeah.
So Netflix, obviously, what we all have now, right? We pay 20.
Or we steal somebody's password.
Or steal up to whatever. So it's like 25, 26 bucks a month, right? They're a $300 billion company. Blockbuster had a chance to buy them because they were a new company. And they said, oh, that won't do it. And Netflix really innovated and said, all right, we can make this cool. And now it's huge, right? So now there's Hulu and all these other different things that stemmed off it. So that's kind of like the fixed mindset versus growth mindset.
Yeah.
Blockbuster, there's one left. Did you know that?
No.
It's in Alaska.
That makes sense.
I think it's in Alaska. Don't
Way
quote me
out
on that. I think it's like a tourist attraction. They might have movies here, but I don't know.
It's a tourist. It's just there.
It's cool.
Cool.
I don't know if their popcorn's any good anymore, but.
Oh, yeah, know. They did used to have and candy and everything.
All right. I'm going with passion. Okay. So what does passion mean to me? I think I talk about this a lot. It might be more work geared, right? But passion, if you do not have passion, it doesn't have to be work, but in anything, you're never going to give it your best effort. You're never going to give it your best effort. And I remember back at AT&T, we used to do a lot of like leadership meetings and stuff like that. But there was one vice president, general manager, that always said, you got to be a peak performer, almost like a mountain peak, right? And it stood for passion, energy, action, and knowledge. So you got to have passion for what you're doing. If that's helping clients or, helping families or relationships, whatever it might be, you got to have passion. And then, that's tied into enthusiasm and energy and taking action upon things, whether good or bad. And, in our industry, be knowledgeable. I think passion is just, you got to feel from your heart.
Well, if you don't have a passion, then you're not going to want to learn about it. You're not going to be knowledgeable.
Yeah, and you're unmotivated,
Yeah.
And I think passion gives you like the driving, we'll call it turbine, to get you from point A to point B. Like think of an airplane, the engines, the turbine engines. Not that those are passionate engines, but it's just simulating the two, is that gets you from point A to point B. And I think that if you're not passionate about what you do, like I wake up every morning freaking pumped. You see it, sometimes your deals are, I'm like, and I'm like, and it's not caffeine, it's just like I'm genuinely excited about the day, every day. And it's because I'm passionate about it. So that's my thought of passion.
And it's staying passionate even when things aren't going your way.
Been there.
Which is hard.
Been there. I have deals like, if you only knew behind the scenes some of the stuff that goes on, even on deals that we've had, it's like, okay. how do we figure this out, right? It's always a puzzle. Everybody's a puzzle in our world, and you'd be like surprised. That's why half the time we don't tell the stories, but they all get done. But you're right. If you're like, F this, I don't care, I'm not doing this anymore, you could easily just throw in the towel and call it a day. And I think that passion, for some people out there, I talk to a lot of you on the side, and a lot of you guys are friends, but a lot of you I know are also not happy with what you're doing, and I think you got to find that passion to be able to overcome whatever it is and be able to do what you want. And that's why we open it up with like doubt. Don't ever doubt yourself. Doubt kills your dreams more than failure ever will. I failed a whole bunch of times. I remember crying on my second loan, literally in tears.
Why?
Because there's a lot of rules and I didn't know them. You
even just jump right in.
Even at like probably 400 plus loans closed, like I'm still learning stuff. Like the FHA 4000.1 handbook came out with a new thing. Okay. But we learn, as every day is learning, which also goes into passion and innovation and stuff like that too.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got one last question for you.
Okay.
So what piece of advice would you give to your younger self? I won't put an age on it, but if anything, like what's one piece of advice?
There's so many. But how? College?
Let's go 22. It's about the end of college, right?
Oh, okay. It's okay to be invested a little bit. You need balance. So vested as far as don't live like a retired person and not care, like do a little bit of thing. Like it's okay if you have to work harder, it seems, than other people to get where you want to be. Just keep working.
Okay. I think that's good advice. Good advice. I won't share mine. I've already shared it.
Oh, you're yeah. But I feel like my advice changed over time.
Okay, like let's just say like different eras, the 20s, the 30s.
I had to rewire my whole mindset whenever I became a realtor.
I agree.
It's just more of a self-employed thing because I always was like a scaredy cat.
There's some fear. I mean, there's fear in everything, right? But the only way to overcome it is to keep working at it, I think. All right. Well, Yvonne, thank you so much for joining. Obviously, Yvonne, she serves all of Southwest Florida. So if you're looking to buy or sell your home, she's an awesome person to contact. How can people reach out to you?
Facebook, DM me, Instagram.
Okay.
Yvonne sells Southwest Florida Paradise, SWFL.
Okay. And you don't have to give out your phone number or anything, but do you have an email address too?
Yeah, Yvonne at topagentflorida.com.
Top Agent. Love it.
That's my
007.
Team. That's my team. Top Agent, Team Florida.
I've worked with Yvonne personally on a bunch of deals. She is excellent at what she does. She's not scared to pick up the phone and make deals happen, but also if things hit the fan, she is there to support you, back you, and just an incredible person. So I'm so happy to have you on the show on Beyond the Blueprint.
Yes, thank you.
And so obviously here you heard a great real life story. This is what the show is all about. We're not here to necessarily talk about mortgages and all this stuff, but it's really about just maybe somebody out there today is a nurse and maybe they want to get into real estate, and maybe you gave them some, we'll call them nuggets, golden nuggets, and maybe they're enough to go to the...
Or to just make that change. Any change.
Just to make the change, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that have cool stories, and we'd love to have you on the show. If you can, make sure to send us a like and subscribe if you can. I want to hear some comments, so if you have anything or feedback that you want to add, I'm all ears. I think it's really, really important because this podcast is not for me, it's for everybody else. It's not my podcast. But I'm very thankful for those that have reached out, especially Yvonne too. So thank you, everybody. This is Matt Sochi with
exploring the
Beyond the
uncharted
Blueprint.
territories of mortgages, real estate, faith, marketing, coaching, and so much more. Helping to show you there's always a way forward. Thanks so much for listening to the show. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back.